Trap Red with another Trap Red YouTube video. I'm going to show you how I make my Canadian styled killer coyote snares. You can use these for beaver, lynx, wolverine, wolf, coyote, fox, bobcat. They're made out of 3/32 cable and the 3/32 hardware. This lock here, the Berkshire lock, one side has a big hole, the other side small hole. I think this is a 5/64 hole, but this will fit up to 3/32 cable. So anyways, if you thread it through the small hole first, it'll become a locking snare. If you turn it around and run it the other way, it acts as a relaxing lock. Just something to note. I'll show you with the cable here. Let's see if I can steady this. Here's the cable. I've already swagged an aluminum stop on the end. You want to leave about 1/8 of an inch of excess cable when you swag it, just to make sure you got a good bond. These are aluminum, so they just crimp down around. You can see it's already been swagged with a swagging tool. Anyways, what I'm saying is, if you thread it through the small hole first, and ride it on the cable like this and then bring it back around, this is the locking configuration. Small hole first and then fed back through, fed through the slot and then back around to the large hole. Now if you need or want a deer stop, it has to go on before you thread. Here, we're going to build one from the base, and I'm going to show you how it's done. What you're going to need is these components. I'm going to show you what I have on the floor, and then we'll build one right like this. So here it is. I hope you can see it. I got a bag of the stuff. Sherlock's 3/32 and 5/64 inch cable size. Snare swivels, number 9 gauge. You got 50-pound compression springs. That's these right here. You got the twist-on whammy support collars and the 3/32 inch standard deer stops. These are steel, and you hammer them down. They're right here. This is the aluminum stop, the 3/32 aluminum stop, the snare swivel washer, the Berkshire Sherlock, and the number 9 gauge heavy-duty swivel, 50-pound compression spring, and then the twist-on whammy. Those are the components, besides the length of snare wire you're going to use, which is, by the way, cut already. I cut it with a pair of dikes and hammer. I find that better cut than using these bolt cutters. These bolt cutters don't seem to get it too good. This is my swagging tool. It was like $30 down at Harbor Freight. I'm going to turn this around. We're going to build this snare. You're going to take this end that's already swagged, you're going to get this snare washer. You're going to put it on first. Second goes this, number 9. You're going to feed it like this through. That's the snare swivel. Next, you're going to put on your twist-on whammy support with the wide mouth first. Then you take a deer stop. Hope you can see this. Small, very small. That's a 3/32, very small nut. It goes on, barely fits, but it does fit nice, and it goes on. Then you take your Sherlock. Remember, we want it locking and killing. So, small hole, 5/64 hole size first. Then feed it through the slot, like so. Now you're going to put on your deer stop. Deer stop. The first one that we put on was a loop stop. This is your deer stop. Now I build my snares with loop stops and deer stops both, because some states require both. That way these snares will work in every state that allows any kind of snaring, pretty much, except the states that require restraining snare devices, in which case, like I told you already, you simply reverse the lock so that the large hole is first, and then feed it back around so that you're feeding through the small hole. That will be a reversing Sherlock, and it won't lock all the way. Then you can just dispense with the killer spring, because this killer spring that we're going to put on right now makes this into the killing snare that it is. And I put the wide end in first so it rests against the base of the lock better. As you can see, the other side, the other end is tapered. And I take the big end, the flanged end, I put it on first. Adjust it so it comes out about 1/8 inch. Then you're going to swag it with the swagging tool. I'm going to put it in the swagging device, and then I'm going to show you how it's done. That's the most delicate part of the operation, because you don't want anything slipping. So, as you can see, it's positioned in the swagging tool, like so. Then you just bear down on it, like so. It's swagged. And that's the finished product right here. You open up the loop. Needs adjustment still. Let me open up the loop for you. Slide this lock back. And that would be, you're going to take this right here, how the cable lays, you're going to want to put a 7 in it right here. You can do it by hand if you're careful. It's better to do it with a plier. You're going to bend it. Let me go get the plier and I'll show you how it's done. I'll be right with you. Here, enjoy the scenery for a minute. Gotta go to the workbench. Here I come. Alright. Trap red. Forgot my needle nose pliers. So what you're gonna do, you're gonna take this snare, you're gonna pull it out like such. You're gonna see which way the cable turns and lays in relationship to the actual cable lay. You're gonna want it parallel itself, and so you bend it back like such, so it's like a 7, and that's pretty much it. It's going to hang like a teardrop loop. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to put a load on this side right here, So what you do, in order to load it, you're going to take a hold of the snare lock, and you can use your thumb, and you can do like this. Just apply pressure upward and outward while you roll your thumb. That's called hand loading. What's better, and to put a heavier load on it, is you take a swagging tool, as such, but then you're going to want to take the arm of the device, then you're going to run it like this, across. Steady this. You know, you're going to want to have it set up in some kind of vise or something. It's best to use a pipe. But then what you do, you rotate it like such. And that will put the loop load on the snare. Will run a lot more smooth. It will lock up smoother. See, fall down real quick. And as you can see, there's a little gap here where I made a little extra. Doesn't really matter. You can take it up or not. It's already kinked, so that's the way it is. You don't want to kink it again. Anyways, it's gonna lay just like such. And here's your deer stop. In order to adjust your deer stop to the proper length, the formula, let's say if they require a 2.5-inch deer stop, you're gonna multiply that times pi, and then measure from where the cable comes out of the lock, that length, which would be about 8 inches. Exactly, you're going to figure it out. It's 3.14 times your deer stop loop length requirement, whatever your state calls out for. So you just plug that into your computer and do the math. 2.5 is usually the requirement, 2.5 inches, so it figures out about 8 inches. So you measure from here out about 8 inches, you just hammer that down, and that will prevent this lock from closing small enough to capture a deer or a cow. That's why they require it. Well, with a cow you need a breakaway device, but this is for strictly for deer, like white-tailed deer. He can kick a loop this size off, but a beaver or a coyote or even a fox, he won't be able to. Bobcat, they'll be caught, and then they'll pull, and as you can see, this spring here will only allow it to come so far. It will come up to this, and they'll be choked out. So that's pretty much the whole setup. You're going to want to use about an 8-inch loop. You're going to want to load about an 8-inch loop for coyote, coon, fox, bobcat, lynx. It's pretty much a standard size. You might want to, if you're doing beaver, you might want to go even 10, and there's certain ways to hang it in the trail to catch the beaver or the coyote. Coyotes, you're going to want to use a 12-inch loop with 12-inch clearance for a large coyote. So they have charts on the internet for it. So this is trap red with the Canadian style Berkshire Sherlock 50-pound compression spring coyote / beaver killer snare. Take care.